It started like just another quiet weekend. My roommate and I were in our usual routine, laundry humming in the background, Netflix paused on some reality show, and takeout containers stacked on the table. We'd lived together for almost a year by then, and things were easy. Comfortable. She was more than just a roommate to me, she was like a sister. We shared everything, secrets, stories, and late-night snacks. So when she casually mentioned that her dad was coming to town for a few days, I didn't think twice about it. Just her dad, I thought. No big deal. He arrived on a Friday evening. I still remember the sound of his knock, sharp, confident, like someone who expected doors to open for him. When I opened it, there he was. Tall, well-dressed, with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. There was something about him that felt a little too smooth, but I brushed it off. After all, he was her father. I greeted him politely, offered him tea, and even helped bring in his bags. He joked a lot, complimented our apartment, and said things like, "You girls have done a great job here." Very cozy. Everything seemed harmless. At first. But within the first 24 hours, I started noticing small things. The way his eyes lingered too long when I walked past. The personal questions that felt just a little too personal. The comments masked as compliments that made me shift uncomfortably in my seat. I kept trying to convince myself I was overthinking. Maybe he was just being friendly. Maybe I was being paranoid. But it didn't stop there. The boundary between guest and something else blurred quickly, and not in a way that felt accidental. He started appearing in places where I didn't expect him. Once, I came out of the bathroom and he was just there. Waiting in the hallway, like he'd been standing there the whole time. Another time, I was in the kitchen late at night getting a glass of water, and he came in too, said he couldn't sleep. The way he looked at me, the silence that followed his words, it all made my skin crawl. I wanted to tell my roommate, but every time I tried, I hesitated. She was so happy to have him visiting. They laughed together, shared old memories, and you could tell she didn't get to see him often. I didn't want to ruin that. I didn't want to seem like I was creating drama out of nothing. But the truth was, something was wrong. Deep down, I knew it. And I should have trusted that feeling. Then, something happened that changed everything. A moment it quiet, almost unnoticeable to anyone else, but it confirmed every doubt I had. And from that point on, things spiraled quickly. What started as a casual visit turned into something I never expected, a true betrayal. Not just of trust, but of safety, of friendship, and of everything I thought I knew about the people around me. What happened next still haunts me. And it's the reason I'm telling this story now, because someone out there needs to hear it. But before I continue, just know, this story doesn't go where you think it will. A few days before her dad arrived, everything in the apartment felt normal. My roommate, Lily, had been talking about how excited she was to see him. It's been over a year, she told me one night while we folded laundry. He's been busy with work and all, but he promised this weekend is just for us. I smiled and told her that was sweet. Honestly, I was happy for her. I knew their relationship had always been a little complicated since her parents' divorce, but she spoke about him with so much respect, like he could do no wrong. She even asked me to join them for dinner the first night. We went to this cozy Italian place just down the street. It was supposed to be a casual get-together, but I remember feeling oddly out of place. Her dad kept asking me questions, where I worked, if I had a boyfriend, if I stayed home alone often. I laughed it off at the time, but looking back, there was something about the way he asked those questions that felt calculated. Too focused. At home, he started making himself a little too comfortable. He'd walk around like the apartment was his. Sometimes he'd open the fridge, commenting on what we had or didn't have. He even adjusted the thermostat without asking. Lily didn't seem to notice, she was just thrilled to have him there. But I noticed. And it made me feel like a guest in my own space. One night, I came back late from a friend's birthday dinner. Lily was asleep. Her dad was in the living room alone, lights dimmed, pretending to watch TV. I mumbled a quick goodnight and rushed to my room. But just before I closed the door, I heard him say something. So quietly. My heart dropped. I wasn't sure if I heard right. Or maybe I just didn't want to believe it. I stayed frozen behind my bedroom door that night, heart pounding, trying to convince myself I'd misheard him. Maybe he was talking to the TV. Maybe it was just a weird dream. But that feeling, the heavy, uncomfortable twist in my stomach, stayed with me. I barely slept. The next morning, I avoided the living room completely and left early, pretending I had errands. I needed space to think. I kept going back and forth in my head. Was I just being dramatic? Was I reading too much into small things? Later that day, I opened up to my best friend over coffee. I didn't share every detail, but I told her enough. She looked at me, concerned. "That's not normal," she said quietly. "You need to be careful." Her words gave shape to something I was trying to ignore. But even with her support, I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to hurt Lily. She trusted her dad. She adored him. And I didn't have proof, just a string of uncomfortable moments and a growing sense that something wasn't right. The tension in the apartment started to grow. I became hyper-aware of everything: footsteps in the hallway, doors creaking open, even the sound of Lily laughing with her dad in the kitchen. I started locking my door at night. I told Lily I wasn't feeling well, just to avoid joining them for dinner. She noticed I was acting different, but I couldn't bring myself to explain why. Then something strange happened. One afternoon, Lily's dad left for a quick errand, and I saw his phone buzzing on the coffee table. A name popped up I didn't recognize, and the preview of the message sent a chill down my spine. I didn't touch it. But what I saw, it changed everything. And it raised questions I wasn't ready to face. I couldn't unsee that message. It was short, just a few words, but it made my chest tighten. The contact name was saved as K. The message read, "You didn't tell me she was this pretty. When are you alone again?" My stomach dropped. My mind tried to reason with it. Maybe it wasn't about me. Maybe it wasn't what it seemed. But deep down, I knew. The timing, the tone, everything lined up in the worst possible way. I wanted to tell Lily right then. But I froze. What would I even say? "Hey, I saw something shady on your dad's phone while he wasn't home and now I think something's seriously wrong?" It sounded crazy. And if I was wrong, I could break something between them that couldn't be fixed. So I waited. Watched. Tried to keep my distance. But keeping quiet only made things worse. That night, Lily was out grabbing groceries. Her dad was home. I stayed locked in my room, pretending to be asleep. Around 9 p.m., I heard footsteps in the hallway. Slow. Cautious. Then a soft knock. I held my breath. He whispered my name once. Just once. I didn't answer. I didn't move. My heart pounded so loudly I was sure he could hear it through the door. After a moment, I heard him walk away. The next morning, I told Lily I was going to stay at a friend's place for a few days. I needed space, I said. She looked confused, hurt even, but didn't push me. As I packed, something strange happened. A folded paper slid under my bedroom door. No name. No words on the outside. Just folded neatly, like someone took their time with it. I opened it. And what I read made my blood run cold. The paper in my hands was shaking, not from the cold, but from the panic rising in my chest. My eyes scanned the messy handwriting again and again, trying to make sense of it. It said, "I know what he's done before. Don't trust him. Protect yourself." That was it. No name. No explanation. Just a warning. My mind spiraled. Who wrote this? Was it for me? Or was it accidentally slipped under the wrong door? And what exactly had he done before? I waited until Lily came back, heart pounding the whole time. She looked tired but cheerful, bags in her hands, humming like nothing was wrong. I almost told her. I opened my mouth and closed it again. How could I drop something like this on her without any proof? Without knowing who the note came from or what it even referred to? I ended up taking my bag and leaving. But even at my friend's place, I couldn't sleep. My thoughts were a mess. Something wasn't adding up. I kept thinking about Lily's stories over the months, how her dad had been distant since her teens, how she never talked much about her mom, who passed away when she was younger. Suddenly, all those missing pieces started to feel more important. I texted Lily that night, just checking in. Her reply was short, "Dad said you seemed off lately. Everything okay?" That message made me realize he was trying to get ahead of me. Controlling the narrative. I had to know more. I couldn't ignore it anymore. I ended up messaging one of Lily's cousins, someone she once mentioned she wasn't that close with. I just asked, "Hey, random question, has Lily's dad ever made you uncomfortable?" The reply came faster than I expected. "Are you at the apartment? You need to be careful. There's stuff Lily doesn't know. It's not safe if he's staying with you." My hands went cold. That was the second warning in 24 hours. 2 different sources. No context, but the same fear behind their words. I called Lily, but she didn't pick up. I tried again. Nothing. That was when I knew I couldn't just wait anymore. Something was seriously wrong. And if I didn't act fast, I might be too late. But nothing could have prepared me for what I found when I went back to the apartment the next morning. I reached the apartment just after sunrise. The streets were quiet, that eerie kind of calm before the city fully wakes up. My hands were trembling as I unlocked the door. Inside, the place was too silent. The living room was dark, the curtains still drawn. I called out for Lily, once, then again, no answer. Her phone went straight to voicemail. Panic settled in. I stepped down the hallway, toward her room. That's when I noticed her bedroom door was slightly open. I pushed it gently. She was there, asleep, or so I thought, curled under her blanket. Relief washed over me for a second. I whispered her name, and she stirred. Her eyes fluttered open, confused and groggy. "Why are you back so early?" she asked, voice thick with sleep. Before I could answer, we both froze. The sound of footsteps, heavy, unhurried, coming from the kitchen. Lily sat up quickly, her expression shifting. "Did you bring someone with you?" she whispered. I shook my head. Then, he appeared in the hallway, standing still. Calm. Watching. He smiled like nothing was wrong. "You're back," he said, like it was just another day. I stepped between him and Lily instinctively. I told her everything in front of him, about the phone message, the note, the cousin's warning. Her face went pale, disbelief clouding her eyes. She looked to him for answers, but he said nothing. Just stood there, quiet and still, the mask finally slipping. Then Lily asked the one question I hadn't even thought of, "Where were you last night?" Silence. And then, without saying a word, he turned around and walked back toward the living room. Lily followed, furious, confused, demanding answers. I grabbed her arm, begging her not to go alone, but it was too late. The final twist? A hidden envelope tucked under the couch cushions, one Lily found in the middle of that chaos. It had old letters in her mother's handwriting. And in them, pieces of a story Lily had never known, about why her mom really left her dad before she passed. A story that revealed patterns of manipulation that stretched back years. Lily broke down reading them. Her world shattered in real time. And in that moment, we both realized this wasn't just a bad visit gone wrong. This was a pattern finally unraveling. A truth buried for too long finally coming into the light. Lily sat on the floor, the letters spread out in front of her like pieces of a puzzle she never knew existed. I stayed by her side, not saying much, just letting the silence fill the room as reality settled in. The things her mom had written weren't detailed, but they were enough. Enough to suggest that Lily's dad had been controlling, emotionally distant, and manipulative long before we ever met him. It wasn't just us. This had been going on for years, just hidden behind smiles and well-timed charm. Later that day, Lily asked him to leave. There was no shouting. No dramatic scene. She simply said, "I don't feel safe with you here anymore." He didn't argue. He packed quietly and left, like he knew the truth had finally caught up with him. That moment wasn't loud, but it was powerful. It was the first time Lily took back control of her own story. In the days that followed, things were fragile. Lily was quiet, processing everything. I stayed with her, and slowly, we started talking again. We revisited every strange moment, every time we felt something was off and ignored it. And honestly, it was heartbreaking to realize how often we had silenced our own instincts just to keep the peace. She ended up reaching out to her cousin, and together they filled in more missing pieces, stories from childhood, memories Lily had forgotten or tried not to question. It wasn't easy. But it helped her understand that what happened wasn't her fault. It wasn't mine either. It was the result of years of buried truths finally surfacing. Eventually, our apartment felt normal again. A little quieter, maybe. But safer. Stronger. And most importantly, honest. This story isn't just about a roommate's dad crossing boundaries. It's about what happens when you trust your gut, even when it's scary. It's about listening to that inner voice when something feels wrong. And it's about protecting the people you care about, even if it means facing uncomfortable truths. If there's one takeaway, it's this: the quiet warnings, the subtle signs, they matter. Don't wait for proof to trust your instincts. Sometimes, survival starts with simply believing yourself. Thank you for watching. If this story resonated with you, or reminded you of someone, share it. You never know who might need to hear it. Stay safe, stay aware, and always trust your gut. 41.